This episode of Hero Club is supported by our good friends over at Mage Hand Press. Check them out at magehandpress.com and buy their High Seas supplement for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition to Shanghai your own group of adventurers. If you like Hero Club, remember to rate and review on your preferred platform and tell your friends.
Welcome to Hero Club. I'm Nick Williams.
And I am George Primavera.
George and I have been playing D&D together for years.
Now, a lot of people think you need to be a big, huge nerd boy to play Dungeons & Dragons.
But in reality, you just have to be willing to spend 4 hours of your own time on a weekday trashed on cheap beer cross-legged around a coffee table.
I lost a game of Flip Cup in 2012, so I had to buy all the books and learn how to be Dungeon Master. My dad was disappointed.
Yeah, he was. But after a game or two, we realized that it's actually a really fun and effective way to tell an awesome story.
Yeah, it's like long-form improv, but you kill more people.
Here's what you need to know. George creates a world and the framework for a cool story.
And the players, like Nick, create characters beforehand, all with special abilities, sometimes magical, sometimes not, and they adventure through the story as best they can, trying not to die.
We, the players, roll dice to see if our improvised actions fail or succeed, trying to beat a number in George's head that he promises he doesn't change at will.
But at the table, I am God, my game, my rules.
Okay, so it's as nerdy as you thought. You know what? Just off, man.
Whoa,
right off,
all right,
okay?
Nick, maybe don't tell everybody to F off. And it's not that nerdy. I mean, we get rid of all that stupid math, and we add music and sound effects and stuff like that, so, you know, it's cool.
Anyway, these stories do follow a linear plot, so if you want to know what's going on, start at the beginning of any season you like, and have fun with it.
Without further ado,
welcome to Hero Club! Yeah!
Lilia Randazzo and Vivian Stoker fled to their ship, unaware of their captain's success in purifying the diamond. But now the real race against the clock would begin, and only time would tell if all of their efforts were to be in vain. The crew's austere ordeal was far from over.
Lilia and Vivian emerge from the tree line, hobbling down the beach and towards the old wives' tale. Both look to be in very bad shape, having just suffered massive injury due to the shockwaves coming off of the diamond during its purification process.
Vivian pushes Lilia off of himself, trying to walk on his own.
What did you do? What did you do?
Lilia stubbornly puts herself back under Vivian's arm, continuing to help him to the ship. After everybody we just lost, I'm not losing you too.
It was gonna take one of us, Randazzo. You just made sure it takes the captain.
Suddenly, there's an explosion back inside the forest, and a bright purple light illuminates the tree line a little bit.
Lilia looks behind her at the light. The captain's gotten out of stickier situations than this. Have a little faith, Vivian. I chose to.
Vivian nods back into unconsciousness.
Having reached the deck of the ship, Lilia shrugs Vivian's body off unceremoniously and begins to look around for the scarab given to them by Mordecai.
Making her way into Drake's quarters, Lilia begins pulling drawers out, shuffling papers around until she finds the little metal scarab functioning as a paperweight on a nearby nightstand.
Holding it in her hands, Lilia takes the scarab outside onto the deck in the open air. She opens up her palms and gazes down at it. Mordecai, or someone, please come help us. We've lost everyone. Please help.
The wings begin to flutter, the scarab lifts into the air, and then begins to fly over the edge of the boat out to sea. And as it gets about 20 feet away, it rapidly increases in speed and seems to disappear in a flash of light. All is quiet. In the wake of the diamond purification, the entire crew of the Old Wives' Tale is splayed out in the swamp, some along shore, some scattered throughout the shallow water, a few blackjacks and other miscellaneous pirates among them. We see the armadillo that was kicked into the diamond pit by Jack the Mouth pulling himself out of the sand. Commander Bosch semi-gracefully dismounts from a tree, looking around shakily. 2 lions from the Briar Patch's crew sit up in the water, confused and wild-eyed.
God, Sandals, why'd you have to jump on the big diamond?
Mittens, You told me to. You told me to jump on the diamond, Mittens.
Yeah, but come on, Sandals, you know me. I got poor impulse control. I'm like, dive on the diamond. You don't always gotta listen to me.
Oh, Mittens. What have we gotten ourselves into now? Immediately, the crew of the Old Wives' Tale springs into action, rounding up all of the blackjacks, the miscellaneous pirates, and Commander Bosch, sitting them cross-legged in a circle on a small patch of land in the middle of the swamp.
Mr. Churchill,
Yes, Captain. Churchill looks tired.
get these men lashed together. They're going straight to the brig.
Of course. Edgar quickly puts a couple of pirates on it, but then he grabs Drake's shoulder.
Captain, there's something we need to discuss. I was in that diamond, yes?
As far as I know,
Get Bastion. Where's Lilia? Where's Vivian?
Lilia took Vivian to the ship. They were in a bad way. It was quite the ordeal getting you out of the diamond. We almost lost them both.
Churchill, are you okay?
I'm not entirely sure what I've been through. It's all rather out of my depth. But I think I may have gleaned something. Being in the diamond, I was exposed to something horrendous. I can't explain how I know, but I think I know what the Queen's intentions are.
Well, let's have it, man.
She intends to release black water throughout all of Emporia, all known and unknown waters.
Yes, we know that already. The mother told us.
Yes, but she intends to use the mother.
What? How?
That I don't know.
We've got to get back to that island.
Churchill, where are the penguins?
They all dove overboard as soon as that abomination came aboard. Salting cowards.
Now, Churchill, it may seem that way, but ineffectual they may be, I'm sure they are somewhere planning a rescue mission.
We cut to a small cove about a kilometer east of the rest of the crew's position. All of the penguins are gathered in a circle, intensely whistling at each other. Finally, Richardson steps forward and places a grapefruit in the middle of the circle, pointing at it and gesticulating firmly with his fists. Biff and Boff both step forward at the same time to pick the grapefruit up, and as they bend down, they bonk heads. Chaos ensues, and a brawl breaks out. Cutting back,
Drake snaps his fingers and motions to a sea lion member of the Old Wives' Tale crew, Kai Aldrich, and picks up the wonder in his good hand.
as Aldrich takes the wonder from Drake, it slowly begins to disintegrate into a small pile of glittery dust that is taken by the wind.
No. Aldrich, find Val. Tell her it worked, but there were complications. Tell her that no matter what happens, I'm going to fix this, no matter what the cost. Go.
Aldrich nods and heads down the well.
Bastion, what do we do? Without the wonder, Val is salted, and all of the Gillish people as well. We'll never make it to the Mother's Island in time.
Bastion sadly smiles at Drake. I do not know Drake. I thought for a moment that we might have a way out of this, but I think we might be out of tricks.
Tricks.
Edgar has been watching this, and the gears have been turning in his head. And suddenly, his eyes brighten, and he looks at Drake and Bastion.
Get everyone back to the ship. I might have an idea. Find Lilia as soon as you can.
Edgar takes off towards the boat. The crew of the Old Wives' Tale begins to guide all of the prisoners towards the shoreline. Drake and Bosch end up next to each other, marching back towards the vessel.
You salting sea dog. She'll find you, you know.
Look about you, my man. Does it look like you're in Emporia anymore? No. Get back in line and shut your snout, lest I do something I regret. Again.
Back on the boat, Lilia is gazing out over the ocean, trying to see where the scarab went. After losing sight of the scarab, she goes over towards Vivian and sits down next to him, arms curled around her legs. I don't know how we're going to get there, Vivian. 4 people can't man the ship. It's not possible. Maybe if we had Edgar, it would still be fine, because he was always so smart. I feel like I can still hear him.
Lilia! Put the plane down!
I feel like I can really hear him.
Lilia!
Edgar? Are you okay? Lilia excitedly stands up and turns around, gazing at the shore. And she sees Edgar running from the tree line as fast as his short, stubby legs can take him.
Lilia! Lilia, put the plank down, quickly!
Without a moment's hesitation, Lilia throws down the gangplank and runs down towards Edgar. Upon reaching him, she throws her arms around him, radiating nothing but joy.
Yes, good to see you too. Good to see you, Lilia. Quickly, get aboard.
I need time to process this. I thought you were dead. I'm thrilled and excited. Let me have a hug.
Edgar quickly spins her around, gives her a tight hug, and then pushes her out and looks directly in her eyes and says,
Where is the compass?
Lilia, without breaking eye contact, reaches into the pocket of her vest and pulls it out, holding it in her hand.
Edgar breathes a massive sigh of relief.
I have to get something from my cabin, wait for the rest of the crew, and tell everyone to gather on the deck.
Okay, but don't die again because I did not like it one bit.
Don't worry about me, worry about that mouse over there. Vivian, you okay?
He's fine.
Get salted, Churchill.
Yep, he's fine. I'll be right back. Finally, Drake leads the massive trail of blackjacks and pirates onto the main deck of the Old Wives' Tale. Bosch, the two lions, the armadillo, and several other creatures in blackjack attire are led down to the brig and locked away. The rest of the crew stares at each other uneasily, awaiting Edgar's return.
This has been both the worst day and the best day ever. I'm so happy everyone's back. You didn't have to bring Bosch back, though. Could you have left him?
While waiting, Bastion gets on the bullhorn.
Penguins! I'm sure your plan was very good, but come back to the ship. We're all alive.
Very slowly, way out by the tree line, you see one penguin head emerge from a bush.
I see you, Fanciful Bill. Your hat gives you away. You are not hiding well.
Fanciful Bill's gigantic sun hat lifts higher into the air as he stands up out of the bush and begins to walk alone down the tree line. And then you see all of the other penguins slowly begin to emerge, one of them wearing an entire ghillie suit, two of them with 5 grapefruits cradled in their arms, and the others dragging a gigantic log that has had vines tied around it. This requires about 6 penguins to drag.
Davin! Ukel! Leave the log! We do not need it!
They throw their hands up exasperatedly and leave the log halfway down the beach.
Oh, don't give me that look. What was even the plan? I mean, hilarious, but how does that help us get out of the diamond? Oh, now you get it.
Churchill busts onto the deck, holding lots of papers in his arms.
Everybody, gather round. Captain, may I have the floor?
Drake exhaustedly half bows to give Churchill the floor.
Thank you, sir. Now everyone bear with me. This might get a little complicated. We have gathered several things on our journey so far. For example, Lilia, come forward.
Lilia steps forward and proudly displays the compass in her hand.
Yes, good. Now you stand here, thank you. And of course, this thing.
Pointing at the clear diamond, held aloft by Lockerbie, now holding it easily in his hands.
Lockerbie, if you would.
Of course, Churchill.
He brings it forward and places it on the deck.
And Bastion, I assume you recognize these?
He holds up several scrolls obtained from the Treasury Department in Guildford.
Now, I've spent some time translating these, and as you saw on Dinner Cruise, they all appear to be spells of some kind. When read aloud, they produce some kind of effect. The only way I was able to read the first spell was by translating what language exactly this is. Seems to be some sort of very old Scaelic. Wound Cure appears to be one, Ball of Fire another, but this one was different than all the others. The closest I can translate it to is Fuse. Deciphering a bit more of the fine print along the bottom was much more difficult, but from what I can gather, this scroll can meld 2 objects together to function as one. Now, the compass allows a teleportation ability of sorts, but like a boomerang, the teleportee must return to the original destination. This diamond, as explained to us by that nature spirit referred to as the Mother by that crazy platypus, is a magical amplifier. If Vivian or Lilia could figure out how to use it, there's a possibility it could be operated by anyone. Now, I don't believe the diamond needs to be fused with the compass to amplify a teleportation ability of sorts, but perhaps that's the answer here. I don't know. We have all of these cogs, all of these pieces. Captain, what do you think?
Okay, I still don't know what this salting compass does. Lilia, will you please explain it to me?
So I found a secret groove in it, and to demonstrate, Lilia opens up the groove displaying the red button and the inner working cogs to the group. Okay, so I pressed the red button, and I was thinking about you, because we had a great fight, it was a good day, I did an iceberg, yay! And then, everything went black, I was shooting through stuff really fast, it was very fun, and then I ended up in your office. And then we were there, I scared you all, remember? Vivian, you screamed, which is like the third time that's happened.
I didn't scream.
Yes, you did. Carry on, Lilia.
Anywho, after a little bit of time, I poofed back. Exactly where I was. I was also holding Henrietta before I pushed it, and she didn't come with me. So I'm assuming you can't be holding something and have it come with you. Any questions?
No, that was very thorough. Thank you.
Right. How long were you in that room? Edgar?
If I recall, it was approximately a minute.
And Churchill, you said that the diamond amplifies spells. Is that correct?
If I am to gather from the information you obtained from the mother, then yes, that would be my deduction.
Well, if the compass is kind of like a spell, we could always amplify the compass with the diamond, but then what do we fuse? What is that?
The ship. Fuse the compass to the ship. Teleport us all to the Mother's Island. We'll hop off and meet up with that moon-brained platypus. And the ship will teleport back here.
I need to heal you. You don't even know what you're saying. You're almost dead.
No!
Vivian tries to get up, but slumps back down against the railing.
It'll work. It'll maybe work. It really might not work, but if it does work, it saves us the trip. And saves Drake's bonny lass.
And all of the Gillish people.
Who?
Well, it would make sense that the closer Vivian is to death, the more he makes sense.
It's where I live, mate.
Vivian slumps back into unconsciousness.
Captain, if what Lilia said is true, that she cannot take things with her, perhaps the old wives' tale will just leave us dead in the water.
But if the old wives' tale is the compass, and we're holding on to the old wives' tale, it should take us with it, yes?
Well, she has never let us down before.
And our time there should be longer, since we have the diamond this time, so it should be more than a minute, maybe a minute and a half.
Bastion, I have yet to meet a reward that is not worth the risk. I say we do it. Churchill, ready that scroll.
May I propose 30 minutes to get everything ready for the trip? We don't know what we'll be coming out to.
Yes, yes. I want every beast to their battle stations. Be prepared. Steel yourselves. And get ready with that diamond. I don't want to waste a single second once we get there. Lilia, get him on his feet. And do something for yourself while you're at it.
The crew begins to bustle about, rapidly preparing for departure. Drake, Bastion, Lilia, and Vivian all taking a moment to bandage themselves and generally recover a little bit, taking a breather. The crew begins to gather up on the main deck, turning the old wives' tale in the direction from whence they came. Edgar, Drake, Bastion, Lilia, and Vivian all gather up by the helm, now looking much better in terms of their physical condition, all standing upright and focused. Edgar unfurls the scroll and gestures for Lilia to place the compass on the helm.
Lilia begins to bend down and put the compass on the helm, and she looks to Drake with a questioning look on her face. Captain, how did you purify the diamond? Val said it had to be a magician that held the wonder.
Bastion snickers under his breath.
Well, let's just say that during my relationship with Val, I went through a little bit of a phase. I spent about 3 years trying my hand at magicianry.
It was not a good look.
Is this the time for this?
I'm just saying I know some magic is all.
Well, Mr. Magician, if you'd like to do the honors, it is your ship.
All right, I'll do the fuse. Fingers crossed.
Churchill hands Drake the scroll. Hand on the diamond, I think, Drake.
Drake unfurls it, places one hand on the diamond, and mutters the Scalic incantation under his breath.
What sounds like a large metallic click reverberates across the ocean as the compass suddenly pops into the helm as if there had always been a hole for it ready. The face of the compass goes completely flush, and little veins of the same metal that the compass is made out of begin to spread over the helm, all of the metallic veins wrapping themselves around the entirety of the ship. The compass face begins to expand until the compass literally becomes the entire helm, little spokes still poking out the sides. The groove that Lilia found originally is still there, and as she presses the latch to swing it open, a comically large red button pops up, facing the party.
Well, you know what I've always said about buttons, Lilia?
Was it to ask someone?
No, it was to press it right away and see what happens.
I knew it.
Everybody grab onto something!
There's a clambering on the ship as everybody wraps their arms around the sides of the boat.
Drake steadies himself on Bastion's shoulder and grabs the railing before saying, Lilia, use the diamond.
Lilia places one paw on the diamond held by Kip, wraps a foot around the banister, and places her other hand on the surface of the button. Is everyone ready?
Aye!
Punch it.
And Lilia pushes in the button.
Nothing happens.
Did it work?
And then all of a sudden, the entire ship rockets forward through a rainbow tunnel.
What?
The sails of the Old Wives' Tale flutter randomly and severely in the wind that is coming from God knows where as the ship keels to one side, almost capsizes in this massive wormhole, and then rights itself. Kip Lockerbie stepping forward and slamming the helm to the right.
Hold her steady, lads and lasses!
Below deck, crew members desperately hold the cannons in place, and the prisoners in the brig slam against each opposite wall.
What new hell is this, Mittens?
The vivid lights of the rainbow tunnel suddenly go dark and dim, and the Old Wives' Tale floats in silence, surrounded by darkness and small specks of light in every direction. And then, the crew feels their stomachs turn as the ship drops, and suddenly, it is bright day. Salty water sprays up over the deck, soaking everyone, and the island of the Mother is only a few hundred yards away. However, between the Old Wives' Tale and the island are two massive ships at 10 and 2. The ship on the left is a behemoth-like man-o'-war, flying Armada colors as well as a massive banner with the insignia of Soul City emblazoned upon it. The name of the ship becomes visible on the front, the HMS Olivia. The ship on the right, though, is what really catches your eye. It's the Briar Patch, torn to shreds, covered in barnacles, and glowing green. There is no way this ship should be upright in the water, and yet, as soon as you are visible, it begins to take off towards you, and you hear a voice over a bullhorn call out.
Well, hello there, Muldoon. I told you we'd meet again.
Oh my hog, it's the salting carnivore. We only get one shot at this. Lilia, put the wind at our backs.
The backs or in the sails?
The sails, Lilia!
Got it! Kip, diamond me! That means give me the diamond.
Aye, Lilia! Kip tosses Lilia the very heavy diamond.
Lilia, with the diamond in her arms, goes over to the sails, places both of her hands on either side, and directs the diamond up towards the sails.
Lilia, make an Arcana check.
18.
As Lilia holds the diamond up,
Lilia takes a massive inhale and, fixating the diamond on the sail, casts Headwind.
wind bellows from Lilia's mouth, and the sails are blown outwards, taut, the Old Wives' Tale taking off at triple its normal speed.
Drake braces himself on the helm as the ship launches forward. Bastion, heave ho! Get us between those ships. We're heading for shore.
Heave ho! Double speed, everyone!
The ship rips through the water, heading for the small gap between the HMS Olivia and the Briar Patch. As the Old Wives' Tale moves forward, the man-o'-war begins to twist on its side, exposing its cannon towards the small galleon. But it's not quite going to be able to turn around in time. The Briar Patch, however, appears to be steering in the same direction, putting itself on a collision course with the Old Wives' Tale. But again, it's not quite moving quickly enough.
As the Old Wives' Tale passes between the two ships, Vivian, tell your men to give them a broadside.
Whoever's in charge down there, don't salt this up. Broadside!
25. 55 damage.
Bedlam the Goose stands on the gunner's chair and yells to all the gunners, "Alright, you heard him! Launch those cannons! Blow the ship right up!" Cannons rattle against the armored side of the man-o'-war, not dealing as much damage as you've seen the cannons do to a galleon, but definitely leaving its mark.
Got anything else for me, Mr. Stoker?
Vivian grabs the diamond from Lilia.
Oh, why don't you give old Vivian a taste?
Holding it in both hands, he steps up to the railing on the side facing the man-o'-war from Soul City and scans for potential targets.
You see a hooded figure up in the top of the mast of the HMS Olivia. There's also a large moose at the helm of the HMS Olivia, and a couple of other beasts wearing large pointed hats that appear to be in charge of sections of the boat.
Vivian, holding the diamond in both hands to amplify the spell, attempts to cast Crown of Madness on the magician in the crow's nest.
The magician in the crow's nest reels back a little bit, but shakes his head and appears to regain focus. The diamond only emanates a faint glow.
Scat.
The old wives' tale continues to barrel through the ships, but as it does, the briar patch turns, moving itself perpendicular to the old wives' tale, and shows like it's going to ram the side of the boat.
Allow me to reintroduce myself, boys. You're looking at the latest ship in the Queen's Royal Navy.
The briar patch crashes into the side of the old wives' tale. Lions begin to stream over the side and engage the crew members. As they do, everybody make a perception check.
19.
11.
19.
Botch.
Lilia and Vivian can see that every lion that jumps the banister has glowing green eyes.
Yeah, they're dead! Or they were, and they're back. Not good, either way.
Yep, that about sums it up.
Captain Blackbriar joins his lions on the deck of the old wives' tale, hobbling forward, his single eye also alight.
I was in pain most of my life, but ever since I talked to the Queen, I've never felt better.
He unsheathes his sword, made from his severed horn, and steps through the crowd, slashing randomly and wildly at anyone he can reach.
Muldoon, show yourself!
Meanwhile, in the crow's nest of the HMS Olivia, the robed figure stands up on top of the railing, stock still for a moment, and then simply falls off, shooting downwards towards the deck. And right before he seems like he's going to plummet into the wood, white wings expand outward, purple sleeves falling to the shoulders, and the beast takes off into the air, the hood flapping back and revealing green glowing eyes and an eagle's beak, as Ezra lands on the mast of the old wives' tale. Vivian Stoker and company, good to see you again. Did you know your ship's on fire? And Ezra lazily waves his arm, and a bolt of fire shoots towards the bow of the ship, alighting the walrus figurehead. The old wives' tale is now on fire. The HMS Olivia appears to be preparing to launch a broadside, but isn't quite ready yet.
In a panic, Drake turns to his crewmates. Lilia, Bastion, get that diamond off of this ship and to the mother. Now, go!
Lilia grabs the diamond and Bastion and drags them both to the far end of the ship, as far away from Ezra and the carnivore as possible, and opens up a dimension door on the floor of the ship, pushing Bastion and herself through it.
The door closes behind them, and suddenly, Lilia and Bastion emerge on the beach from a small trapdoor that appears out of the sand.
Go!
Step of the wind. Bastion takes off. Mother, we're here. You better wake up the vines on this island because we need some help. Right about now.
Give him another broadside.
Broadside!
One broadside out there!
16.
The cannons fire, but the damage done to the HMS Olivia is pretty minimal.
Seeing the damage being done to the ship, Drake unsheaths his cutlass and throws himself into the fray, attacking the first creature on his way towards Blackbriar. 21.
One of the lions falls over the side of the ship.
I'm coming, you carnivorous son of a roach!
The carnivore spots Drake in the crowd and attempts to stab him with his horn sword.
Good to see you again, Muldoon.
Drake, make a constitution save.
21.
Drake is stabbed with the gazelle horn and is able to dislodge the blade very quickly.
Can't say I'm happy to see you, carnivore.
Let me just say, you look delicious.
The carnivore takes a swing at Muldoon. 10.
Drake easily ducks the blade.
Ho!
Gritting his teeth, Blackbriar continues his advance. Up in the crow's nest, Ezra is muttering to himself under his breath, wings outstretched. As he does, his necklace begins to glow. One member of the old wives' tale suddenly goes very still right in front of Drake. And then, as he does, a chain of magical energy passes through 4 more members of the crew. They are lifted into the air and suddenly fly off into the water.
Lockerbie, swing us around so we avoid the shoal.
Aye, sir!
The old wives' tale sweeps around the front of the man of war, banking parallel to the sand.
Vivian turns his head upward and throws 2 eldritch blasts at Archpriest Ezra. 22 and 21.
Both blasts connect with Ezra.
25 damage.
Stoker.
Ain't got nothing to say to you, mate.
Drake takes a big swing at the carnivore. 19. 25 damage as the cutlass slashes the carnivore's side. And Drake readies himself in a defensive stance again.
Lilia looks at the HMS Olivia, realizing just how powerful it is and how ineffective the cannons have been, raises her paws, and a film of ice slowly coats each one. She exhales, her breath a cloud of fog, and casts Iceberg at 3rd level.
The HMS Olivia lurches upward for a moment, and then begins to keel at an odd angle and appears to be beached. And it's then that you see ice poking out from under the water around the base of the gigantic man-o-war. The HMS Olivia appears to resist any piercing or severe damage, but is now immobilized.
Bastion is booking it through the woods. Platypus! Platypus! What is your name? Me?
Yes, that's me.
Oh my hog, run with me right now!
Where are you going so fast, elephant? Oh, I've met you before.
The Channeler!
You have Mother's gem.
When Bastion runs at full speed, he can run 150 feet in 6 seconds. He is past me at this point.
Me, with lots of questions and approximately 0 answers, hobbles after Bastion.
The carnivore unsheathes 2 cleavers from his back and slashes at Muldoon. 20 damage.
Meanwhile, Ezra drops from the mast, lands down on one knee, and then straightens himself up, his talons gripping the deck as he moves his arms outward towards Vivian, and several sharp blasts of energy impact on Vivian's chest. You take 16 force damage.
Vivian hurls 2 more Eldritch Blasts at Archpriest Ezra before dashing towards the carnivore.
Catch me if you can, mate.
15, 28.
Ezra ducks the first, and the second hits him in the chest.
10 damage.
Get back here, Stoker.
Need a hand, Captain?
Midnight snack.
I was talking to the other Captain.
Drake takes another slash at the carnivore. Nat 20. 44 damage as Drake runs the cutlass through the carnivore's stomach. I will not be killed by a bloody unicorn.
I'm a gazelle, you half-wit.
You have 1 horn and you look dumb, you're a unicorn.
The carnivore kicks Muldoon off of him and steadies himself.
As the old wives' tale passes the side of the HMS Olivia, out of range of any broadside from the massive vessel, there's a clambering on deck and chaos ensues as the Blackjacks try to fix this problem that they cannot see.
Lilia, seeing that the boat is in dire need of assistance, opens up a dimension door in the sand and pops back to the mast of the old wives' tale. She looks around quickly to make sure that Henrietta is okay, before glancing down at the captain and yells out, "It's all right, Captain! Finish him off! You can do it this time!"
Bastion is now at the temple entrance.
Bastion scrambles to put all the figurines onto one shelf like Lilia did.
The door slowly begins to descend into the earth.
Wait, he's coming. Wait, I'm coming behind you.
I am not going to wait.
Okay.
As soon as the door is halfway down, Bastion vaults over and continues.
As you vault past the door, you see a couple of vines wave as if you are creating a wake by running down the staircase.
Yes, it is good to see you too.
The carnivore sheathes 1 cleaver and takes out his horn sword. He attempts to stab Muldoon and cleave Muldoon. 10. 14.
Drake dips and dodges both swings.
Oh! I'll give it to you, Muldoon. You're a slippery, slippery otter.
The sea of fighting pirates is parted as Ezra sends a shockwave that rips the wood out from the floorboards of the boat and fires it into the air. He floats forward and points 1 feathered finger at Vivian. Vivian, make a wisdom save.
Nat 20.
Vivian, feeling a tingling on the back of his neck and suddenly feeling his muscles stiffen, whips around to face Ezra.
You're gonna have to get closer than that, mate.
Ezra silently seethes.
Vivian moves away from Blackbriar and throws 2 more Eldritch Blasts at Ezra. 28, 23.
Both hit.
18 damage.
Ezra reels back as the Eldritch Blasts singe his robes.
Drake attempts to tackle Blackbriar into the water. 5.
Blackbriar braces, slamming against the banister, but pushes Drake backwards.
Get off me, you rat!
As the old wives' tale swings back around, becoming parallel with the briar patch, Bedlam fires off another light cannon broadside.
Fire all light cannons at the blood bright pitch, glowing green, the big ship over there!
Bedlam, terrible at his job, misses every single cannon.
Oh, skit! Vivian was so much better at this than I was!
Lilia gazes down intently at Ezra and begins muttering under her breath, casting dissonant whispers at second level.
Ezra grits his beak as he feels Lilia's presence in his mind. You think your power is equal to mine, Madam Monkey?
Maybe not, but yet I wasn't killed by a one-horned gazelle. How did that feel when he bit into you?
Ezra, in real life, grabs his throat, but in the dimension he is now locked in his mind with an ethereal Lilia projecting her voice all around a void, he sees the events play out in front of him.
Did it hurt?
Ezra takes 18 damage and goes to one knee. As soon as he does, he launches off the deck and begins to fly off the boat. You can see that Ezra's wing beats are much clumsier than they were before.
Fly away, little bird, as fast as you can.
Bastion descends the last couple of steps and inside the chamber of the mother, sees the altar suddenly flood with flowers, all different colors, constantly changing and waving. The mother appears to be able to sense the diamond's presence. And as Me meets you in the chamber, a vine reaches up and pokes itself in Me's ear.
Oh, right, this again. Oh.
Yes, I know it's very unsettling, but it's me, the mother. Let's go do this, quick.
Right, we do not have much time. What do I do?
Bring the diamond over here.
Me, the platypus, now controlled by the mother, leads Bastion to a small hole in the floor, about a foot underneath crystal clear water.
Right in there. Be careful now.
Be careful of what?
The energy surge might kill you. But probably not. You're probably good.
Of course. Bastion puts the diamond in its rightful place.
It slowly sinks into the water and then glows bright white. The vine withdraws from Me, the platypus's ear. Me looks right up at Bastion. Run! Make a constitution save, Bastion.
16.
A flash of light sends Bastion and Me flying into the wall of the chamber. Me hits his head on the wall and slides down unconscious. Bastion, you take 14 bludgeoning damage as you slam into the wall, and then the light fades a bit and maintains a nice, steady glow. Flowers begin to spread out throughout the entire chamber until they lead up the stairs. The pirates, locked in combat on the ship, suddenly see the foliage give a massive wave towards the ocean, and all of the vegetation at once grows twice as lush. The plants growing outward, vines streaming down the beach and into the water. The water ripples outward, as if there's an earthquake, the epicenter of which is the mother's chamber. The carnivore, seeing this, redoubles his efforts to take Drake down. Drake, you notice that the massive wound in his side has begun to seal up.
That's right, Muldoon. You didn't realize you were fighting the apex predator, did ya?
The carnivore raises two hands above his head and attempts to stab down with his horn sword and his cleaver. 11, 13.
Drake once again deftly dodges.
You're slow for a unicorn.
Ezra twists in the air doing a barrel roll and tries to cast a massive spell at the main deck of the Old Wives' Tale. But he realizes he is within range of Blackbriar's anti-magic field, and the spell fizzles and nothing happens. Blackbriar, maintain your distance!
Well, it's your fault, you salting featherbag!
Let's take a closer look at that eye. And Drake attempts to use his hook hand to take out the magic eye.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Nat 20.
The eye pops out of Blackbriar's socket, and he tumbles over the edge of the banister.
What are you?
Drake tosses the eye to Vivian, and Swan dives off the boat after him. What?
Vivian deftly catches the eye and pockets it before turning to Harris Grumps, the anteater, grabbing his flintlock pistol out of his belt.
Hey, wait, that's mine.
Didn't see you using it, mate. Vivian takes aim at Ezra and fires. 20.
That's a hit. Roll damage.
7 damage.
The bullet grazes Ezra, and he wheels around.
Vivian passes the spent pistol back to Grumps and takes the dodge action.
Lilia, still focusing on Ezra, narrows her eyes as her eye patch begins to glow. She begins to mutter under her breath again as she casts Hangover at 2nd level.
Ezra, seeing that Lilia is about to cast a spell pointed in his direction, flies up to her level in the crow's nest and waves both wings outward, dispelling the blast of magic as it comes towards him.
Stoker can wait.
The mother, if me is alright, can one of your leaves just give me a nod because I have to go right now. Is everything good here?
A massive, almost muscular vine pushes you up the stairs.
Oh, no!
As you are propelled up the stairs, Bastion, you see an unconscious me being transported by a big, thick bramble. And as you exit the tunnel, all of the vegetation around you seems to be consciously acknowledging you as you move past it, making a space for you. Several thicker, tree trunk-sized vines shoot their way towards the shore alongside you. In the water, the carnivore, holding his breath, turns to face Drake.
The carnivore desperately tries to slash at Drake. 23.
Drake takes 13 damage, and now Drake, make a Constitution save.
10.
Drake, your muscles seize up, and the carnivore, leaving his sword in Drake's thigh, kicks off of him, getting to the surface, supposedly leaving Drake to drown. Ezra, now facing off with Lilia, waves his hand in the air, and a massive ball of fire shoots towards her. Roll a dexterity save, Lilia.
20.
Lilia dodges the major brunt of the fireball, taking only 15 fire damage. Ezra perches on top of the mast and stares down at her menacingly. Unfortunate that we missed you the first time around. I suppose I still have some cleaning up to do. Drake is unable to dislodge the sword, his muscles still frozen, but his gills have opened up and he is breathing water easily.
Vivian grabs a passing penguin.
Oi, Richardson, find the captain, or what's left of him, and bring it to me.
And before Richardson can protest, Vivian tosses him bodily over the railing.
The penguin gives a whistly what-ho.
Vivian draws his dagger and puts it in his teeth and starts climbing up the mast toward Ezra.
Lilia's hands ball up into fists in frustration as she yells, "Get out of my room!" and casts Thunder Wave for 12 damage.
Ezra's feathers ruffle outwards as the impact takes him off the mast, and he attempts to right himself in the air, but he has to swing all the way back around.
And Lilia, turning around and not seeing the captain anywhere, sends him a telepathic message. "I don't know where you are, but if you're in the water, that's great, because you do so well there. So just keep it up and keep smiling."
Bastion, the vine carries you out towards the beachhead. The pirates see gargantuan tendrils explode out from the tree line, reaching over the water, and then disappearing beneath. A beat passes, and then they fire out of the water, wrapping themselves around the HMS Olivia. And as they curl around, like a kraken's tentacles, pull downward, immediately breaking the gigantic man-of-war in half. Scores of creatures begin to dive off into the water as the ship is pulled down so quickly that it creates a whirlpool in the water.
The carnivore climbs aboard the old wives' tale once again. Once he reaches the deck, he sees Vivian climbing the mast and chases him.
Little early for a midnight snack, but I'll make do.
Ezra, wheeling around through the air, takes aim and fires magic missiles at Vivian climbing the mast. But as the magic missiles stream towards Vivian, about 30 feet out, they seem to impact on an invisible wall. What? Blackbriar? Meanwhile, under the water, Richardson is streaming rapidly towards Drake, panicking that his captain might be drowning. But upon reaching Drake, he sees the gills working.
Richardson, get this blasted horn out of me.
Richardson just pulls the sword right out.
Oh, there it is. Drake rockets up towards the surface and clambers onto the deck of the ship, sword drawn, looking for the carnivore.
Drake spots him climbing up the mast behind Vivian.
And he takes chase.
Vivian, after reaching the crow's nest, takes his dagger out of his teeth and dives through the open air towards Archpriest Ezra.
Make a grapple check.
23.
Vivian connects with Ezra in the air, wrapping his wings up and taking them both to the earth.
Vivian brings home the dagger. Botch.
Vivian takes his dagger out, but before he's able to plunge it into Ezra's chest, The bird takes his talons and flips Vivian off of him and into the deck of the old wives' tale. Vivian impacts hard into the deck. Vivian takes 49 damage and does not move upon hitting the deck. Ezra steps forward menacingly towards Vivian. Time to finish the job.
Lilia readies herself to cast a spell before realizing Vivian has that blasted eye. All right, Harold, it's your time to shine. And Lilia picks up her musket Harold, kept at the ready, takes aim, and fires at Ezra. 23 for 9 damage.
Ezra glares at Lilia, but continues towards Vivian. As Bastion reaches the shoreline, a thick vine seems to create a kind of bridge for him, leading him out towards the old wives' tale, while another grouping of massive vines pull the briar patch apart and down into the water beside it.
My ship! My ship!
Bastion runs across the bridge.
Bastion is approximately 150 feet of the 200 feet he needs to get to the old wives' tale. Meanwhile,
the carnivore leaps from the mast and attempts to dive bomb Vivian with his cleaver.
Seeing the carnivore dive for Vivian, Drake uses both feet to launch himself off the mast, meeting him halfway. 19.
Drake connects with the carnivore in midair and tackles him to the boat's surface. The carnivore takes 13 damage, and Drake takes 5 as they hit the deck. Shakily, the carnivore tries to regain his footing. Meanwhile, Ezra reaches Vivian's unconscious body and lifts a taloned foot to strike the final blow. Goodbye, Stoker. It's been a long journey, the two of us, but the Queen will have her way. And he goes to slice down, but before he can, he's shoved to the side by Edgar Churchill.
I don't think so, you featherbag.
Edgar Churchill raises 2 blunderbusses, clicks them both back, and fires both at point-blank range. What? Ezra reels backward, taking 13 damage, struggling to maintain consciousness.
Painstakingly getting to his feet, Drake pulls out the horn sword. The problem with being in a food chain is there's always a bigger fish. And Drake stabs the horn sword into the carnivore's back, leaving it there. 20.
I was almost perfect.
The carnivore pitches forward onto the deck and is still.
No, it can't be.
Ezra begins shuffling backwards, holding his necklace tight.
At all costs, she said. At all costs.
He raises one feathered hand in the air. A massive energy ball begins to form in his hand, growing.
Today is the day the old wives' tale sinks.
He plunges his hand to the deck, and nothing happens. He looks frantically around.
Barely clinging to consciousness, Vivian opens his hand and wiggles the black pearl that was Blackbriar's eye at Ezra before passing out again.
No!
One of the mother's vines loops over the old wives' tale's banister, picks Ezra up, and pulls him beneath the water. The crew of the old wives' tale quickly begins to gain the upper hand as chaos ensues amongst the lions and amongst the fleeing members of the HMS Olivia. Within no time, upwards of 40 lions, all with bright green eyes, are tied up in the middle of the old wives' tale's deck. And as Bastion vaults over the edge of the old wives' tale, begins taking charge of moving the prisoners onto the beachhead, restrained and under careful watch. The old wives' tale moves closer to shore. Much of the crew begins to disembark, but as they do, they begin to hear a ticking noise from within the belly of the old wives' tale. Edgar, with wild eyes, turns to the captain.
Captain, what do we do?
Churchill, you're acting captain of the old wives' tale. Kip, you're first mate. Board the ship. Meet us back here in 1 week. Take the penguins and beddle them with you. That goose is worth nothing to us now. Everyone else with us.
We'll begin the journey, Captain, but we'll see if we can't get the teleportation to work again if need be.
If you can, you can. But the old ship is in good hands. Take care of her and get going. And when you get there, check in with Val in the Blackwater. I want to make sure this worked.
Will do, Captain. Crew, follow me.
Aye, Captain. Kip, seeming like he's forgotten something, calls back.
Penguins to me!
All of the penguins look at Bastion.
Humor him.
and they all follow Kip Lockerbie. Some of the crew gets back onto the old wives' tale. The ticking crescendos, and just barely as the plank rises back, the ship disappears, water sloshing back and forth as it moves back into place.
I hope he remembers to feed Henrietta.
Vivian is being tended to by a couple members of the crew, and his eyes have fluttered open, struggling to maintain consciousness.
I said get off me. Almost dying isn't that bad when you've died already. Get off.
Drake turns to face his crew.
Drake paces back and forth in front of the crew. As far as I am concerned, we are all pirate kings and queens. We all have as much authority to make war on the whole world as she who has 100 sail of ships at sea and an army of 100,000 beasts. Tonight we prepare. Tomorrow we take the war to the Queen's doorstep. Rest well, and ever may you reign.
Behind Drake, there is a photo flash of light, and sand scatters forward as if from a breeze.
Hey guys, I missed you.
I set upon the ship at dawn, I wouldn't dare be late. Abilities were checked to see if I could pull my weight. For my first meal, a lemon peel, the best I ever ate. The grand old ship began the trip, our fortune we were making. Silver, copper, platinum, gold, I seek the things that can't be sold.
This has been a Hero Club production, produced by Nick Williams and George Primavera, with associate producers Marty Abbey Schneider and Dylan McCullum. Voice acting by George Primavera, Nick Williams, Hannah Fagerbaki, Dylan McCullum, Marty Abbey Schneider, Jack Quaid, and Natasha Krause. Theme song by Matthew McCullum and performed by Hannah Fagerbaki. Special thanks to Kevin MacLeod and Ben Doyle for their incredible music, Mage Hand Press for their genius D&D 5th edition homebrew, and Marty Abbey Schneider for his amazing artwork. Thanks for listening, and welcome to the club.
Is glistening with dew. I'll count me blessed if I ne'er rest till this world I subdue. In every cove's a treasure trove.
It's all for the taking.
Silver, copper, platinum, gold. I seek the things that can't be sold. I seek the things that can't be sold.
To hear you. You don't even know what you're saying. You're almost dead.
No!
One more time.
Sorry. No!
It was doing exactly that, but pull back a little.